Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault 2, and I'm out here in the garage. I'm actually kind of setting up to film the garage portion of a range report on the IWI Tavor X95. I just got done with the editing of the range footage. I wrote up my bullet point script, and you want to see how messy this is, because I just give myself like data points. Like you can see like how messy that is. Yeah, I can read my scribble. You guys know I have a doctorate degree, so I guess I'm supposed to have bad handwriting. I can read this, and it's just like bullet points, just to remind me, oh yeah, in this segment I need to do this. So I have that all written up. But for the most part, in case you don't know, when I do my range reports and most of the filming, it's kind of all off the cuff. I know that I need to talk about this aspect of the gun and like this little segment, but everything I say is usually just what I'm thinking about at that moment. And sometimes when I have to refilm things, they can be completely different and structured completely in other ways. But I got all this done, and so I was just coming out here to set all of this up. I might not get to it tonight because it's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I have to get ready to teach some lessons, some music lessons. I got some students coming here to the house. And then after that, my wife and I are going out to see some friends. So I might not get to this one tonight, but it's be all set up and ready to go for tomorrow morning. I also wanted to answer some questions, show you a gun part that I got today, and show you some upcoming projects. Let me go ahead and show you the upcoming projects first. I was able to go see my friend Richard today. I returned his Beretta PX4 Storm Compact 9mm, and he had a couple of more guns for me to try out. One of them is actually a gun I already own, but not in this caliber. And these, I think, are just some beautiful guns. And they're from one of my favorite gun companies, Beretta. The first one we're going to be taking a look at is the Beretta 21A, but in 22 long rifle. And this is their double action, single action one. I guess I do own this one, but it's in 25. And I have the single action version of this, the 950BS, which is one of my favorite pocket guns. And a lot of people kind of foo-foo these tip-up barrel Berettas and things. They're like, oh, they're Saturday night specials. These things are super high quality, even though they're chambered in 25 and 22. But I've never reviewed one in 22, I don't think. Maybe I did on my old channel, but it would have been like a really bad review, probably where I was just filming on my cell phone like I am right now, not my more professional ones. But they only come with one magazine, and I may have another magazine for this, I don't know, but I think that one's going to be in 25 as well. I don't know. But I got this one in 22, and I have the Tomcat in 32 auto. Now, I don't know if I have any 32 auto ammo, so I may have to go buy some 32 ACP. I'll have to check my safe. It's not a caliber that I often shoot. As I said, I may have some. I don't know. I don't think so. So I think I'm going to have to go down to the gun store before I review this one, because it's just not a caliber I normally keep on hand. And there's only one magazine with this one as well. But I actually think I do have a magazine for this. And I like the fact that both of these are the Inox or the Inox. Someone told me that it's Inox, not Inox, because it stands, or it's short for inoxidizable, because they're made of stainless versus blued steel. So if you say Inox, even though it's the way it looks, it's wrong. It's Inox. So yeah, so I got the 21A, and the model actually is the 3032 Tomcat. And that was a little bit bigger, a little bit beefier. Both the Beretta tip-up barrels. So those are going in the queue. So looking forward to reviewing those. So thank you again, Richard. So let's talk about another gun part that I got, in case you guys are wondering. I like to share this stuff with you and kind of, go through this process. I like, building clones and rifles and that kind of stuff. I've done it many times. I probably did it too many times and have too many. I showed yesterday that I picked up the Schmidt tool, the OEM manufacturer for like Colt and FN, their lower parts kit with the correct military ambi safety selector switch in it. So that's going to look right on that FN Collector Series lower receiver I hope to get soon. And the other part I needed was the stock. And so I have bought, personally, A2 stocks from a number of different places. Everything from like local gun shops to Brownells and Midway USA. And I have been thoroughly disappointed with many of them for one reason. And that is when it comes to the buffer tube and the little spacer that goes on the end, often that spacer is a little bit too short, and when you attach everything and tighten it all down, that spacer can still move between the end of the stock and that buffer tube, and it rattles. It's like it can shake. It drives me bonkers. And so I always end up buying a stock that works. So this is going to come from JSE Surplus. I don't know what brand this is. It's just Surplus A2 stocks. And they've always seemed to be in spec and work for me. And I know that some other people in the past have told me when I've complained about this, like, oh yeah, those A2 stocks can suck if you don't get the right ones. But these have always worked well for me from them. I don't know where they source them, but they've always worked well. Ooh, and, oh sweet, they gave me a sticker. I love stickers. I put them all over my safes and everything. Any more? No, just the one. All right, so let's open this thing up. Now, there is one difference between most of the A2 stocks that you buy online and the ones that I have gotten on like the actual FN Military Collector Series, and I own a couple of Bushmaster, was it the Bushmaster, I forgot what the model number is. They have some A2 stocks on them, and I have one Colt one. And the material that the actual stock is made of here on the side is like, it's a little bit softer, and it's a little bit like lighter gray. This one is kind of a harder polymer, but it has kind of the right texture to it. And I wish I could find those other ones. I don't know where those companies source those. I can't find them. But this one's has all, or these from this company has always served me well, and they've always been in spec. So I can kind of shake it. I know if I think we're gonna be fine, because there's nothing more annoying than putting together an A2 lower or an AR-15 with one of these fixed stocks, and then it has this metal clanky rattle in the back. I think I have 2 other stocks around here somewhere in my bins because they're out of spec. It drives me bonkers. I try to put in like washers and things, but then it bothers me. I'm like, how can I have an AR-15 that I've spent all this money on, and I got stupid like washers from like car parts inside the stock to make it fit right. It should fit right the way it comes. But I'm sure this one's going to be a good. Whoa, almost dropped that. Woo! All right, but everything there is right. I got the buffer tube, the end plate, the spacer, the screw. It's all there. So I have everything I need now. I just need that lower, and then I'll have a great M16A4 FN clone. So I think that's that. Oh yeah, one other thing before I get to answering some questions, which by the way, I appreciate you guys sending me some questions. I want to say that it has come to my attention that if you watch me on Rumble, that Rumble stopped syncing YouTube videos. It's not just my channel, it's all videos. They had some type of conflict with YouTube, and YouTube has denied them this service. What I personally think is happening is Rumble is actually getting big and is actually now a real competitor to YouTube in certain market places. For example, when it comes to everything that you would think would be banned on YouTube, well, Rumble promotes. Whether that be, political stuff, gun stuff, medical stuff from the past, different points of view that maybe they don't like, and they want to over-exaggerate. Oh my God, we're going to, be all upset about. Rumble is succeeding in those things, and they're getting more and more viewership all the time. I mean, they're still very small compared to YouTube, but I think that YouTube and Google has started to realize, yeah, this is going to be a real competition for us in the next 10 years. And I think that they're making it harder now. And they're like, no, you can't. We're not going to give you access to the ability to just copy stuff from our site and move it over to yours. So I'm going to have to upload all these videos manually. So if you watch on the Texas Gun Vault 2, I'll upload this video manually over there as well. But all of my stuff, I figured out where my last video was on the main channel, and I'm currently manually uploading all the videos to catch up. So you'll probably get like 5, 6, or 7 a day on the Texas Gun Vault Rumble channel until I catch up. And I just got to spend a little bit more time uploading to both platforms. It's kind of a pain in the butt. That sync was awesome, but I can't do that anymore unless Rumble and YouTube can figure out something. But I want both channels to succeed. So that's what we got going on there. All right, so I think I covered gun parts, upcoming projects, what I'm doing on the workbench tonight, and channel updates. So let's get to some questions. And let's see what we got here. I pulled up the computer, actually, to see, and I tried not to respond to any of the comments in yesterday's video because I wanted them to not disappear. Sometimes when I answer something, it goes to like comments I've responded to, and it doesn't always show up later. But let me see here. We have, let's see, we have Brian Edgett, who's a frequent commenter on my Texas Gun Vault poll questions of the week. He asked, what do you think of the second and third generation Smith & Wesson pistols from the 70s to the early 2000 time frame? So, yeah, I am a big fan of those. I've shot 1 or 2 of them, and I have been thoroughly impressed. And in fact, I kind of wish that Smith & Wesson would bring some of them back. Now, I understand that all of those models were super popular, but in retrospect, compared to their M&P line, to me, they're more like, it's like the 1911 versus the Glock debate. There's something really nice about metal guns. And Smith & Wesson made some really nice semi-auto pistols in the 70s and 80s and 90s. And then when they went into the polymer world to compete with Glock, I feel like they lost a little something. I just wish they had 1 or 2 of those old models still in the lineup. And I hope that one day they bring them back because some of them were really, really good. But I personally like them, and I love the ones in stainless steel. I always thought they looked really good. Let's see here. Next person had any questions. Mr. King Arthur HK asked me, what am I doing with my G40 10mm? So I bought that Glock 40 and 10mm. I haven't done anything with it yet. It's literally on my list of videos to make. I want to take it to the range, do a proper range report on it. I probably want to make that one kind of a bug out gun. I do want to get a good optic for it, like a red dot, and I want to get a holster for it. But it's so far back on my list of guns to film and do stuff with right now, I'm probably not going to get to it for a while. I literally have a stack of guns to review that aren't mine. And so I prioritize guns that are into the channel for review over the ones that I personally own. Because if I get through this pile, then I can get to my own stuff. So to me, that's like the afterthought. And I'll get to it when I get to it. I have so many projects. I am so blessed that I have so much to do because it keeps me focused. It keeps me looking forward, and it gives me purpose. Like, I got all this gun case foam out here. I still got another case to make. I know I made a video about making it for like my DMR rifle. I have another case that I want to do like my home defense rifle for. And I just got to make that. It just takes time. And so if I have a Saturday off or a Sunday off, I need to be making videos. I can't do my own personal projects. Like, I got so many projects I want to do. I have all this amateur radio stuff I want to do. I have like 2 antennas I want to put up. I just don't have time because when I'm off of work and not doing family stuff, I'm doing this. It's like a second job. But I love it. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying that I just wish there were more hours in the day, but I have so many projects, and it's very fulfilling for me to know and to look ahead and see all this. So that's what's going on. It's in the safe. I'll eventually get to it, but I want a holster and put a red dot on it. See here. Master Failure, someone who has lent guns to the channel in the past, he asked me a question here, and he said, for a frequently asked question, I would like to know how you budget for hobby items like guns. I maintain several expensive hobbies, RC, airsoft, scuba, vacation homes. Well, that can be really expensive. Metal detecting. That's something I've always wanted to go do and try out. I've always wanted to get a metal detector, but that's also one of those things like so far down the road, will I ever do it? Probably not. But that's really cool. 3D printing, kids and grandkids. Well, that's fulfilling as well. I'll talk about that in just a second. Woodworking, a tech lab, and so much more. I am interested in how others do it. Well, I am interested in how others do it too. And so let me just mention one thing too about the kids, grandkids thing. I don't have any biological children of my own, but I'm a stepdad to 4 amazing young men who are now all in college. Three are freshmen and one's a sophomore. And when I married my wife and I became a stepdad, which I look at them as my sons, because in case you don't know, my wife is a twice widow, so their biological fathers have passed away. I felt, these are my sons in my eyes, and I know that they look at me like they're, I guess as close to a biological father as they could possibly have. And I try to mentor them. I try to be a friend. I try to just be there for them in any capacity I possibly can. And I love them to death. And being a dad has been one of those things that I didn't know that I would love as much as I do. It sounds silly, and because I'm so introverted, I never thought that I would be in this position. I never thought that it would be something I would enjoy or find fulfilling, and it has brought me more joy than just about anything else. It's a real special treat, because you feel like you're doing this purpose for the perpetuation of the species, of humanity. Like I feel like hopefully I am helping these young men become better young men who will go forth and pass that on to the next generation and so forth. And I'm just this one stepping stone in this long path of humanity. And it's brought me so much joy, probably more joy than anything else in the world. And it has been just an amazing journey for me. But to answer your question, how would you budget, or how do I budget for hobbies? Now, I want to say that, master failure, you have a lot of hobbies. What I have always done is I have a lot of interests. But I have to focus on one or two. I think where a lot of people mess up in the world of hobbies is you have too many, was it pots in the fire, or whatever the metaphor is? What is it? Too many chefs in the kitchen. No, that's people. You guys know what I'm saying. Too many pokers in the fire? Maybe that's what it is. But it's easy to start something, and you kind of get into the entry level stuff. And then you're like, ooh, what's that over there too? And so you kind of dabble in this and you kind of dabble in that, and you become too diversified. Now, I can fully say that there's a lot of things in the world that I am interested in intellectually. There's things I go, man, I could totally get into that hobby. But I was always focused. I am somebody that likes to see things to their completion. When it comes to my work habit and my jobs, I'm not one of those people that wants to get a job, and as soon as I get that job, I'm thinking 5 years down the road, I'm going to move somewhere else and do it. No, I want to be in the same place forever, and I want to build something from scratch to the greatest it can be. And that's the way I am with my hobbies. I also, when I was single and younger, I did not spend money on anything else. You guys probably noticed in my range reports, I wear these like cheap t-shirts. I probably bought this very, very t-shirt at Walmart probably 12 years ago. Like literally, I spend $0 on clothing. And the only time I get new clothes or anything is when my wife gets tired of me wearing something that has like holes in it or whatever. She's like, I'm buying you something new, like socks or whatever. I'm like, oh, okay. And I buy cheap shoes, cheap clothes. I just never seen the need in wasting money on what I've always looked at as frivolous things. Now, I know some people are really big into fashion, but the only thing I can say that I'm really into fashion in now is we like watches. I've really gotten into, speaking of other hobbies, is like nice watches, and I'm learning as much as I can. But I just kind of singularly focused on that. So there's like this meme out there about, is it the ultimate gun guy's apartment or whatever? And literally it was my apartment. It's like an empty apartment with like this HKG3 in it, and it's empty because you have your place to actually sleep, but you have no amenities in your apartment because you're like, why do I need that when I have this awesome gun, right? That was literally how I lived. When my wife met me, I'm not joking. Now, I could afford more, but I didn't own a television because I don't watch TV. I'm not going to waste my time. I'm busy doing things. But also, the chairs I had in my apartment were like camping chairs. I know. You can laugh all you want. In fact, they're back here in my little alcove because I didn't really have anybody over at my house or apartment. But also, why do I want to spend, a lot of money on nice chairs? I'm not going to use them, and it's a waste of money when I can spend them on guns, right? All that money on guns. And that's just the way I've always lived. So I paid off my debt. I don't buy things that I can't afford. So like when it comes to like my student loans, because I got my doctorate, I was like $40,000 in debt with student loans. My parents helped me out a lot in the beginning, but then I paid everything off in like 5 years. And when it comes to like credit card stuff, I pay it all off at the end of the month. And if I know I can't afford something, I don't buy it. That's just the way I've always been. And the best advice I can give anybody, and speaking of helping my kids out, my sons, I tell them the best way to think about money, and I forgot where I heard this, is don't think about items in terms of how much it costs. Think about it in terms of how long and how much you have to work to earn that money to get it. So for example, if I'm going to go buy a Glock, and let's just say the Glock's $500 to make it even, okay? I have to look, okay, it would be this many hours to earn $500 to buy that Glock. Is that worth it to me? And a lot of times I'll go, no, it's not worth it to me. And I'm easy to walk away. I don't look at it as two separate things. I don't look at items in terms of money. I look at items in terms of time. And when you look at things in that way, you can prioritize your financial choices. So that's how I did it. I stick to fewer hobbies. I see hobbies to the end. I try not to get distracted. I've sacrificed in the past. And I know it's harder when you have a wife and kids and all that kind of stuff and other people's, the expectations of the lifestyle that you want to live. But for me, I was always happy before I met my wife, is I was fine with a pretty empty, bare apartment and camping chairs, but having a safe full of awesome guns. That was just me. Okay. I know it's not for everybody. And also wearing like $5 t-shirts from Walmart that are over a decade old. That's how I did it. So that was just me. I know it's not for everybody, but that is honestly how I did it. So let me see if there's any other questions here, but I think that is it. But I enjoyed answering those questions. So thanks for asking those. And I like to kind of share that wisdom, especially when it comes to people that want to get into guns and that might be younger. If you're 23, 24 years old and you look at people online, you might look at my collection and go, wow, that'd be awesome to have. Understand that my humble collection, and I say it's humble because I have friends, oh boy, I got friends that have amazing collections that just... they're just amazing, okay? They're just amazing. I mean, I personally know somebody here. He's lent guns to the channel in the past. He texts me a lot. He doesn't buy just one gun. He'll buy 3 of the same gun in sequential serial number order if he wants it. Like, that's just what he does. And his collection, from what I can tell, is insane. Insane. But you have to start somewhere. You don't go from 0 to 100 like that, right? So I remember the first gun I ever bought with my own money was a Glock 17 Gen 3. That was the first gun I ever bought from a gun store. And it started from there. And then I remember it was like, 6 months later, I saved up and bought a Colt Series 80, 1991 model, stainless 1911. And I was so proud of that gun. Man, it took me a while to save up that $800, And then so forth and so forth and so forth. And it just kind of builds and builds and builds. And as you go through life, your ability to buy things changes. For most people anyway, because you become more stable, you become more successful in your career. You go further down the road. And I also tell people, Do what you have to today so you can enjoy life in the future. I tell that to all of my college students, or when I was a professor and teaching college, I told them that. I said, listen, I know you want to go party. I know you want to go have fun. I know you want to do this, this, and this. Don't do it. Go to school, get out as fast as you can, get good grades, go get a job, because when you're 23 years old, working 80 hours a week is easy. When you start getting my age or older, you're like, because I used to work 7 days a week teaching music and playing music. I did it. I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't do it. Nor do I want to do it anymore. But I feel like because I built that up in the past, I'm more successful today. And when you're young, that's when you can do it. And you sacrifice when you're young. You have the energy, you have the health, you have the ability to do it, you have the time to do it. And then as time goes on, it's like a curve. Like your earning potential increases as you get older because you're more successful, have more experience, and so forth. But also the required time to do that decreases. And to where for most people, I think when they're in their 50s and so forth, I'm not saying you're coasting. You can still work really hard, but what would take somebody, I think, in their 50s to save up the money? For example, I know a lot of people that can just, if they want to go buy an expensive gun right now, they can just go buy it because they have that money saved up. They've done everything. They're established. Where if you're 22 years old and just out of college, and you're like, man, I want to go buy that Daniel Defense AR-15. You can't, So work hard, be patient, be focused, and you can do it. I do think there was one other question that I did want to answer, because I think I just remember somebody else had it. Oh, it was Roaring Steel Media asked, here's an idea for a topic to discuss. Do you think it's possible to get AR fatigue? So much of the firearms industry is AR related that we're inundated. The market is absolutely saturated with ARs. Can man live by stoner rifle alone? If you do experience AR fatigue, what is your favorite alternative rifle? And he says, cheers. That is a great question. And the truth is, I do think that for most gun owners, you can get AR fatigue because, and this is one of my complaints about the AR-15 and a lot of gun companies. In fact, my friend Jack number 2, he was messaging me recently because he wants to get like a high end, like the Gucciest, nicest AR-15 SBR that you could possibly get. He was asking me my opinions on different companies and brands and models and all that kind of stuff. And I said, well, it depends on what you're looking for. Are you looking for collectability? Are you looking for shootability? Are you looking for practicality? What are you looking for? Because the answer to those questions could be different. Because if you're looking for like something that is pristine, like it's an exhibition item, you don't want to go with a Knight's Armament. Knight's Armament is cool, but most of the time their stuff brand new and the packaging looks like it's pretty rough. Like I get mad when they don't even like take the time to put on the flat dark earth coatings on their rifles nice, but that's the way they are, and they're cool because they're designed for military and police. So that's not like the coolest rifle to buy if you're looking for something that's Gucci looking, but from a cool collectible standpoint, yeah, it's pretty awesome. I think it depends. It really depends. If you're an average AR guy, yes, you get AR fatigue, but for me, I have gone past the standard AR stuff because I can tell you I do not foresee myself ever buying a stock AR-15 of any kind. Maybe with the exception of an LMT, one of those reference rifles like the New Zealand or the Estonian ones, or maybe a Knight's Armament. Oh, I love a Knight's Armament. The 16-inch barrel, flat dark earth one, and so forth. But I really don't see myself, and even then, if I had the opportunity to buy one, I don't think I do. I have fallen in love with building and cloning rifles, and each one of those is unique and different. So I have a lot of AR-15s, but each one is unique. It's not just like, for me, like looking at like a Smith & Wesson M&P 15 is boring. Why do I want to see that? It's just another AR. Anything that's like mass-produced AR is boring to me. So from that standpoint, I have AR fatigue, but I don't have AR clone fatigue. I don't have historical AR-15 clone fatigue, and I don't have mechanical AR-15 clone fatigue. So for example, if a gun is a piston-driven gun or it has a certain operating mechanism that's different than all the others, I'm interested in that. But AR-15s as a basic platform, yes, I do. And what other guns do I like besides them? Well, I still like them the best. AR-15s, I think, are still the greatest rifle ever made because of everything from the aftermarket to how it operates, its reliability. I know the AK guys will hate me for that, but I just kind of feel like it's just a better platform in general. If I had to say another rifle, however, that's a good question. I think it's changed. I honestly think right now the SIG MCX series is the best. The new spears are really nice. The Berettas ones sucked. They were heavy. But I'd say the SIG spears. I really feel like the MCX is the best rifle going forward. If you would have asked me this question before the MCX series, I might have said the FN Scar. I might have said the Bushmaster ACR. But honestly, I think the SIG Spear and the SIG MCX platform will be the real rival. To me, it takes the AR-15 concept, ergonomics, manual of arms into the 21st century. And I personally believe that by the end of this century, if we're still using propellant like we do today in cases, like in brass cases, pretty much traditional ammunition, and we haven't gone to like caseless ammunition or like energy weapons or something, I really feel like the MCX series will probably be the more predominant rifle in, let's say, 2080, 2090. I'm not saying the SIG MCX specifically, but a gun like it that is intermediate cartridge, short stroke gas piston, lightweight, modular. I feel like that's the future. I really do, if we continue to use traditional cased ammunition. But that's my thoughts. And so, yes, I'm kind of AR fatigued on basic stuff, but when it comes to cool, rare clone stuff, no, I'm not. So I hope that answers your question. But man, this has been a long video. So, thank you for asking the questions. And as always, if you have any questions, please post them and I'll make videos. I love talking about this stuff. I hope you guys like listening to it. So I got a lot of stuff out here on the workbench. I got to get this range report set up for this Tavor X95. Got to go teach some lessons and then go hang out with my wife tonight. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So let me know if you have any questions. And the word of the day, because I got so much going on, is stuff. I got so much stuff out here on the workbench, so many projects, so much stuff as projects. Word of the day is stuff. If you want to comment and say you watched all the way to the end. So there you go. So let me know now if you have any questions. And as always, thanks for sticking to the end. And thanks for watching.